Guys, I'm super excited to connect with you guys to talk about the Leadership Academy. A lot of people have asked, what is it? How does it work? When does it happen? And so I really wanted to walk through kind of the ins and outs so that you have full, just a full understanding of the program and can properly apply if it's something that you want to apply for. All right. So the Leadership Academy is a 4-month curriculum, right, that we run during the course of the fall. And it's a business, leadership, and entrepreneurship class, basically all coupled into one. All right. So some of I know I found earlier I was sharing, I wonder if I still have it up, but I was sharing some of the syllabus from last year. Let me see if I see it here. But it, things like, and I'll give you guys some examples real quick here. So energy management, creating a budget, balancing a checkbook, public speaking, difficult conversations made simple, rapport building skills, power visualization, psychological hacks to success, time management, emotional intelligence. And those are coupled with interview skills, coaching skills, advertising, marketing. And so it's every time you're learning something that's a life skill and a business skill. And we use Cutco as the example business, right? We use that as our mock business to show you guys how to do things. But what's beautiful with Cutco is that everything we do here is so easily transferable to any business. Okay. And so you can do Leadership Academy. And I've had people over the last 2 decades, 20 years that just did that. They weren't selected for an internship, or some didn't even apply, but they were like, man, this helped me so much with this, that. They were able to use a lot of what they learned when they went into grad school. And they're just so grateful for their experience. Cool. Now, most people who are going through Leadership Academy are looking to also earn an internship of some sort, ultimately the branch manager opportunity. So I want to talk about the difference on what those are, and then I'm going to talk about how the program works. Okay. So people are like, what is assistant manager? What is branch manager? What is district manager? There's so many terms, right? What is it? So an assistant manager works in an existing office, okay? They typically work a couple days a week. Some might do more if they're a full-time or sales manager, but it's not their office, but they help lead the office, okay? So kind of like a general manager in a company, and they run the business or the restaurant or the store, but they're not the owner, okay? But they learn how to manage and lead, and they work whatever couple days a week, right? A branch manager is a 4-month internship. If you want to jot that down, it's 4 months, and it's a summer internship. And so for the summer, if selected, these individuals are getting a chance to learn the startup process of a business, okay? Where a district manager I'll talk about is learning building a business. So branch startup, right? They're learning how to start it, how to kick it off. It's only May and June, where they're really focused on running interviews, marketing, advertising, managing reps. And then in July, August, and September, which many of them are back to school, they earn 50% commissions off all their sales for all of July, August, and September. They're also eligible to be able to, or they're able to compete and win the company trip, which we've gone to Paris, we've gone to Barcelona, we've gone to Madrid, we've gone to Munich, Germany, we've gone to Prague, Budapest, all over Eastern and Western Europe, as well as Argentina, Costa Rica, Hawaii, and other places. Our next trip is scheduled for Australia and New Zealand. So a lot of cool things when it comes to travel perks that we have as district managers, and branches have a chance to win the trip to come with the district managers, okay? So again, assistant manager helps in an existing office. Branch manager is a 4-month summer internship where they get a feel for the business, like kicking off a business and learning management. And they also get a taste of selling at 50% commissions, like our Cutco sales professionals. Cool. And I think it's a perfect place to get a taste of it all and kind of see where they're best fit, right? Because some people are very wired for management and leadership and coaching others. And some people are very wired to be like in the field and working face to face with that. And they really enjoy that. And so there's not one is better than the other. They're different, right? And so what I love about Branch is it gives you a taste of both of them, and to really figure out your niche and where you're best fit. Cool. Then we have our district manager opportunity. District manager is a 1 year or more commitment. Obviously, if someone stays longer, there's some really cool perks. So for instance, Cassandra, she last year wanted to do a branch internship. And then she's like, well, you know what? I want to do a district. My senior year is not too heavy. I want to do a district manager internship. So she ran her office for the year. She did the summer, fall, and spring. And then I asked her to come work with me this year before she goes out and reopens and builds for longer than a year. She kind of, I believe one of her goals is to go through the path I did and really build a powerhouse district. I was a district manager for 10 years. And when I started, I thought it was going to be 1 year, and then 2 years, and then one more year, and then, okay, maybe one more year. And that turned into 10 years. I absolutely loved it. And so that position is year round, in charge of a city or certain zip codes, right? A part of the city. Houston's enormous. So we have 10 district offices, where in other cities, they only have one, right? But they're in charge of a certain area year round. All right. Once someone has been a district manager for 16 months, they're able to earn a BMW. A company gives them a BMW, which is pretty cool. And then once they've hit 3 years with our company, they get something called a super bonus. And so as a congratulations on completing your first 3 years, which by the way, are the hardest years of business building. They're able to go out and earn a $40,000 to $100,000 bonus, which is really stinking cool. All right. So that is something that they have available. Excuse, we got Benjamin in the house. Those are the roles. So how does training work? How do we, how is all that? So everybody trains the same, all right, starting off, because the foundations are all the same. The basics of our business are all the same. So we all start training the same way, okay? Again, the difference is an assistant manager is doing it a couple days a week. A branch manager is, for the summer, first half of the summer, focused on office. And it's basically like if they're taking like a very intense summer school program, right? And so like a master's in entrepreneurship for the first half of the summer. And then the second half of the summer, they get to sell at 50% commissions. Okay. So that's a really cool thing. And then a district manager runs an office year round, right? And they can always do demos too. I did demos probably for my first 9 years as a district manager, because you can do 3 to 5 appointments a week, take your people field training, sell $1,000 or more, you make 50% commission. So you just added $500 to your check, and I love to travel. So I love the opportunity that I always had to get extra cash when I wanted from personal sales, along with my office income. So those are really cool things. All right. So during the fall, we go through the curriculum. All right. Give me one moment. So everybody trains the same way. And really through the course of the fall, we watch people and see where they're at, right? There's people I've interviewed in the last 2 weeks who are like, oh my gosh, I'm a 5, I want a branch. Where can I go? How do you pick territory? And they're like, oh, and I'm like, okay. And some of those end up being some of our best people, and some of them are not. They're not ready, and I don't even let them go out. I remember one of my guys who was like gung ho, and I was like, you know what? I think it's better for you to stay back and work with me, retrain, and then go out, right? And then there's always people too, and I've had a couple. I actually just got off the phone with one, and they're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be ready, like running my own business, like that's so scary, and they end up being some of our best people. Mia Campos was one of those where last year she was like, oh, I don't know if I could do that, and even in December, she was like very unsure. And I was like, you have what it takes. Like, I know it. I do this for a living. Like, you have what it takes. And by the way, she's one of our top branches, and she is working hard right now to be able to stay open in the fall as a district manager with us. Right. So my point saying that is that you never know. You don't know where you're at. You don't know what's happening, and so the goal is to create options for yourself. Okay. My goal with Leadership Academy is not to just like train great managers, great office managers, right? Although, that happens, but the goal with Leadership Academy is to develop great leaders in and out of Cutco, and that you guys are better equipped, you're more confident, you're better skilled because of the stuff you learned here. And so in Leadership Academy, I already referenced some of the different topics from our last year's syllabus. It'll be very similar as we go through this year, especially for the freshman class. Those who are going through Leadership Academy for a second or third time, they'll get a little bit more, they'll get deeper into conversations and discussions with me, and extra coaching to take them to the next level as they go out to run their second time, or third time office. So how do things work? So we go through this portion, which I'm going to finish the stuff that we look for and how we rank, right? People get accepted, which we will have those final decisions before SC2. At SC2, we do our Leadership Academy kickoff. That will be on Sunday before we head out on the boat. And so we'll have a great time together, but we'll walk through the fall syllabus. And then during the fall, if selected, you meet once a week, just like a marketing club. Cool. So you meet once a week for 60 to 90 minutes with your local office and hitting the different parts of the syllabus. Some of the things we'll do together, some of the things you'll do on your own. Then a couple of times over the semester, typically once a month, we have a function together with me. And so we'll be together for 4 to 5 hours. I'll have guest speakers that'll speak and contribute on all different topics outside of Cutco, with wealth building, business building, leadership, health, meditation, just different things that, again, are going to help you guys just show up differently in the world. And that's our goal. The people that go through Leadership Academy are better equipped and are more desired in every industry because of what they've learned here. All right. During the fall, I'm watching people, and there's 5 things that we rate on. All right. And I want to give you guys the 5 areas that we rate on when it comes to, and how this works is that during the fall, managers, like, we're watching every month, we're grading people. And every week, Mr. Lloyd Reagan, our region manager, gets a report of every single candidate that's in Leadership Academy across Southwest region. Cool. And they're ranked in order based on these 5 categories. And then in December, typically we make final decisions in January for those who will get to do summer internships. Cool. And then they have their own training program from December to April, and then open offices in April and in May. Cool. So that's kind of the timeline. So everyone does the same thing through the fall. The Leadership Academy, the guys who are sophomores or juniors in Leadership Academy get a little bit more advanced versions of it and conversations with me. Then in December and January, we make decisions on internships, and we have training program from December to April. And then in May, they open up. But I always tell people it's very similar, again, like joining a club, because I always have students that are like, well, I have school, like I have a lot of project. And I'm like, well, actually 90% probably of people that are in Leadership Academy are students. And so they're taking tests, they have projects, they have exams, some are athletes. Austin Baker was a football player. And so season is in the fall, right? So he had football, he had practices, he had games, and that's how he was paying for school. So I totally get that. I wasn't like, you have to skip your football game, right? So we made a plan, and we had things that he did to stay caught up. And by the way, he was one of our top branches. And so we have people like him who train on their own because their schedule just conflicts so much. Or like Christina, one of my girls who was studying abroad in Spain years ago, and she did her Leadership Academy on her own in Spain, and then came back during the holidays to train, right? But it is fun when you can do it with other people. And so whether you're joining an office via Zoom or you're in an area you can physically go, it's definitely fun getting involved. So we expect that because someone's in Leadership Academy, they're able to do both better. Like, they're better at school and they need to be able to handle both, because that's part of the evaluation process, is how somebody, what capacity somebody has, how they communicate, and how they handle pressure. Okay. Like, we're watching that. So let's go back to the 5 things. Number 1, the first thing that you're rated on are your career sales. Okay. And at the kickoff event at SC2, we'll show you guys how the ratings work. Depending on where you're at in career sales, you'll receive a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. All right. It's a scale of 1 to 5 for each level. The second thing that we'll be rating on through the fall, and then come December when we do final decisions, is how much money you have in savings. Okay. And we're going to talk about the ways that you can do that in a second. But how much money do you have in savings? Because if you're selected for a branch or district internship, the company, as long as the candidate has a minimum of $2,000 saved by March 1st, the company is going to contribute anywhere from $8 to $12,000 if someone's a district manager, to help support with advertising, with receptionist costs, with office costs, and other basics. Okay. So they want to know, shoot, is this person, well, 1, is this person serious, right? 2, is this person capable of handling money, right? Like, do they know how to handle their own money? Are they disciplined around money? Are they able to save, right? Because then that shows them, like, okay, this is someone worth investing into. If you're not able to handle on your own, like, like, if you can't save your, like, why would they trust you with money, right? So that's really important and something that we are definitely watching and looking at. Okay. So again, the first thing, career sales. The second thing is savings. The third thing is your skills, office skills. All right. So we're going to be learning different things through the fall, and we're going to be doing skills checks, and we're going to see how you're progressing in those areas. And so you will get rated on that. The fourth thing that you'll be rated on is professionalism and communication. And that embodies that language, attire, and communication. All right. So language, attire, and communication. And I'm the first to say I can get excited and like drop an F-bomb or something, right? But I don't talk like that on a regular day-to-day basis in a normal conversation. And I don't want to be like at this, at that, like always talking like that. Like, it's just not professional. So if you get excited about something, like, I get it, no problem. But just, how do you carry yourself, right? I think that's really important. And for me, communication is probably the most important thing, because again, like, we can't help and support you if we're not able to communicate effectively with you. And this goes to, by the way, when you guys are starting off and you, and you're in school, and let's say you get to where you're like really overwhelmed and you're like, oh my gosh, I have this test, I have this, we have the meeting with Kathy this Tuesday, like, the last thing I want is for you to be like, oh my God, Kathy, I can't come on Tuesday because I have a test Wednesday. Like, that just doesn't look good, because it shows that you didn't manage your time properly, we didn't plan ahead, you didn't communicate. So if you're feeling that sense of overwhelm as you're getting close to an event, contact your manager and say, hey, I need your help. We have the event next week. I have an exam, I have this, and I'm feeling real overwhelmed. Can you help me with my schedule? And they're going to sit down and help you with that. Okay. And so make sure to just reach out so they can make a plan. They'll say, hey, Saturday, let's get some studying. Maybe you go out Saturday night, but Sunday, no Sunday fun day, Sunday study day. And then on Tuesday, let's put 2 hours before the event to review info. After the event, refresh, and make sure that you're feeling really good as you go into your exam on Wednesday, right? So we'll make a plan with you. But that's really important that you're communicating. And number 5 is attendance to events. All right. Attendance to events. Now, I will say this, no one's going to get kicked out of the Leadership Academy because they didn't attend something. But when we are making decisions at the end of the semester for roles, and somebody has attended everything and somebody missed things, and I have one spot that we're looking to fill, who do I want in that role? Obviously the one that attended everything, because I'm way more confident that they know what needs to happen, because they've gotten all the information, they haven't missed anything. So it definitely plays a role when we're looking at things. Obviously there might be a conflict with class or something, and in most cases, there's things that you can make up, right? We have some things recorded, some things though are not recorded, and even if you get notes from someone, it's very different. It's like kind of trying to explain a concert to someone. You're like, there was great music, there were microphones, there was people, like, I don't know, you're like you can't reenact it for them, right? Like, I mean, maybe you could try, I guess, but you're like, I'll sing it to you, right? Like, no, you just have to be there. You have to experience it. And that's how some of this stuff is going to be, where you just have to be there. All right. And make sure that you get all the information that you needed to get. So again, just make sure that you guys are communicating effectively, because the best people can handle both. And again, part of the preparation is someone showing me that they can handle Leadership Academy on top of their other commitments. They're showing me they can lead themselves, and perhaps they're ready for a little bit more responsibility. And so I don't want someone who's just checking it out because like they don't make it. I want people who are committed to learning, committed to success, and really want to be here. All right. I remember we had Matt Foss, who was a full-time student at Arizona State University, and Matt was able to get great grades. He sold he made over $17,000 that semester and was a top All-American scholarship winner. And we've seen that time and time again. And so we know that, again, if somebody really wants it, they can do it. A big part of someone getting a role in an internship for me, and like, especially as a leader and a manager, and as competitive as this year will be, is just how they manage to push. I'm going to be talking to your managers, asking like how you manage the ups and downs, right? Because it's not easy. You're dealing with rejection. You're having bad days. How are you reacting? Are you shutting off, or are you asking for help, right? Are you showing up and saying, hey, I'm struggling, I need support, right? Because that makes a difference. And like, I don't care necessarily about the results. I care about the actions and the attitude and the commitment to growth. All right. That's what I'm looking for. Those characteristics are what make a difference between the top people and the below average people. All right. So last thing I want to touch on is the financial responsibility of being in Leadership Academy. Like I mentioned, if selected, the company is giving $8,000 up to $12,000 to a branch or district manager to be able to start their own business. All right, it's a lot of money, and so we want to make sure that we have people that can handle that. So I always have people that say, "Oh, well, I've been saving. I have my own personal bank account." I'm like, "Oh, I get it, but the company needs to see it, right? They need to see it in the Cutco account because." If they're going to give money, they want to see that's been put aside. They want to see that you're serious. They want to see that you're committed, and they want to see that you're handling your budget well. Okay. So, so you could transfer money in there. So you want to open, so kind of steps, right? Leaving from here, like, what do you need to do to get started? So number one, you guys need to start your management savings account. There's 3 ways that you guys can add money in there. Okay. And I recommend to do all 3. All right. Now, some of you might not be able to do the third because you need to be an official assistant manager to do the third. Okay. But way number 1, the first way is by actually putting money in there. So you can write down check or a money order. A check or a money order, and that's made to Vector Marketing. So check or money order, and that's made to Vector Marketing. And that check or money order, on the memo, you want to put your rep number and you want to put management savings account. So rep number, management savings account. Okay. That's what you want to put in there. And then you mail that straight to Olean, okay? Or you can give it to me at SC2. And those are all going to be given to the region. They're going to mail them off to New York. So definitely when you come to SC2, you want to come with money, or even if it's $100. And guys, the company doesn't need your $100, but it just shows like, I'm committed, let's go, right? There will be people who will give 500, 1,000, 1,500 or more. Jacob Gonzalez came to his interview and he was like, here's a check for $5,000. I'm serious, give me a top spot, let's do this, right? And so right away, he put himself on the top of the charts, all right? Christina Okanowski did something very similar. And so I encourage you guys to start saving now and see what you can do. The second way that you can add money is take money from your tax withholdings over. Now, I want to reference this. If you have not already set up a tax withholdings, you 100% need to do so. In any other job, if you worked at the mall, you worked at like anywhere else, taxes are automatically taken out of your check, whether you like it or not. Okay. And I'll explain the exact percentage here in a second. Give me 1 second. All right. So in another job, about 28% of your check gets taken out, whether you like it or not, okay? So can you match that, right? Can you do, well, now we can't do 28%, you can do 25%, or you can do 30%, okay? You could do 35, 40, 45, 50, you could go all the way up to 50%. Now, obviously those who are more aggressive, you're not gonna use that all for taxes, but you have extra savings money that you can put into investments and money that you can transfer money over to your management account, right? From that, so it's an easy way, so it's automatically, you're taking it out of your check, and then each month you can say, hey, can you please transfer $150 from my tax withholdings over to my management savings so that they see that happening. Cool. So that's the second thing. So again, number 1, write a check or money order, submit that to myself or to Olean. Number 2, set up your tax withholdings more aggressively. You should already have tax withholdings. If you don't, please set that up. And then we can do it for you. We can help you with that. And then get as aggressive as you can be, okay? And then the third, if you are an assistant manager, your assistant manager pay, you should put 100% of that. And that's an expectation in my office, my organization is AM pay. That's just a bonus for training, right? You're learning, you're growing, and you get a little extra bonus. But at the end of the semester, you have an extra $1,000, or $2,000 or $500, depending, if you're doing 1 day a week or whatever you're doing, that'll be a little bit different percentage, but that can go in there as well. And so you will see that on your paycheck every single week. You'll see it on the bottom. It'll say assistant manager withholdings. It'll say management savings, and it'll say tax withholdings, and then it'll show you your total. So every week you'll see that on there. That is your money. Okay. Now you don't want to just be asking like, oh, I had this, I need it back. Like if you ever need to take money out, you had an emergency, something happened, maybe you got in a car accident, like we get it. It's your money, we're going to take it out, but be prepared. I'm going to ask, hey, what are you going to do to get it back in there, right? We want to see that you can get it back in there. We don't want you constantly taking money out because that's worse. I tell people, put your percentage lower, don't put it so high that you constantly have to ask for money, because again, that shows Mr. Reagan and the company like, oh, wow, they're not really good at balancing their budget. Like they should have planned better, right? So emergencies happen, no problem. That's yours. But try to leave it in there and don't touch it. And then boom, boom, you're going to get, if selected, some nice money from the company. And let's say you don't get selected for an internship, then you have a lot of money saved and you're like, oh my God, I saved $3,000 or $5,000 or 10 grand. And now you can use that to put into an investment and start building wealth. All right. And that's something we're super excited for you guys to be able to do. All right. So last things, I'll tell you guys, keep learning. The number one person, and keep communicating with your managers. The number one person you need to impress between now and SE2 is your manager, because I will be asking them, how is so-and-so doing? How are they doing this? How are they communicating? How are they showing? How are they handling like when shit's not going right? Right? Like I'm going to ask those questions because they want to know where you're at now. And obviously you're going to keep learning, you're going to keep growing, you're going to keep evolving. But we want to know how we can best support you. So make sure you're communicating with your managers. And if you haven't already, make sure to get the link. Once you are over 3,000 in career sales, you are now officially eligible to apply for Leadership Academy and be able to meet with me one-on-one, and then we'll be going from there. All right. So those are the basics, guys, of Leadership Academy. In your one-on-ones, I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Try to do some homework prior. If there's some questions you have, ask your managers so that we're able to spend some more time on you. So excited to connect.